And welcome once more to Flashpoints. I'm Bob Orr. Joining me, Juan Zarate, our national security analyst. Juan, good to see you.
Bob, great to see you.
So Afghanistan, 2014, American troops are coming home. We don't know how many are coming home, but the president, the administration seemed to signal maybe all of them.
Yeah, what you had, it was a fairly stark development in that President Obama called President Karzai. They haven't spoken in a while. You know they don't have a good relationship, and they haven't spoken often. But this was a clear message from President Obama to President Karzai that he and the United States is serious about what we now call the zero option. No troops left behind after 2014. That runs counter to everything that the national security community, the Department of Defense, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs has been proposing. But certainly it's the option available to us, given that President Karzai has refused to sign the security agreement that would give us the comfort to allow our troops to stay beyond 2014. And so this was a clear message from the president that we're willing to go to the zero option. It's a message not just to Karzai, but to the rest of the Afghan complex and to the international community.
Is this real, or is this some kind of tactic to get the Afghans to move to signing an agreement?
Well, you know, it's a little bit of both. I think the hope, given that I think we've all concluded that Karzai is not going to sign this, is that his successor as president will sign it. And all the candidates have suggested that they would. The Loya Jirga, remember, actually approved this. And so Karzai, in some ways, is the last obstacle. So the thinking here is we will wait for the new president. He'll sign it. The problem is, how do you plan for that? How do you arrange for it? And you're still going to have the vagaries of whether or not it's going to get done. I also think, the president in the Iraq context not only ultimately got, but I think liked the fact that we didn't keep any troops behind, that he
ended the war, people came home,
and he could say it cleanly and clearly, no more of our troops there. And I think there's a level of discomfort with the idea of keeping 5, 10, 15,000 troops in Afghanistan further. It's a harder political message, and for the president, I think, a level of discomfort. So in a way, I think the president may be signaling not just to the Afghans, but internally, look, I may be serious about this.
Okay, but let's talk reality here. Iraq, after we left, that didn't turn out so great. And now we have a situation in Afghanistan. The Taliban has not been defeated. So if we go to zero option, what happens in Afghanistan, specifically with the reemergence possibly of al-Qaeda?
Well, that's the danger. I mean, the whole idea of keeping troops is not just to occupy a country, it's to keep trainers in place to support the Afghan security establishment, to fight off the Taliban so they don't invade cities and villages like Jalalabad and Kandahar and Kabul, and the country can actually exist without the Taliban having a safe haven. And two, to be able to have counterterrorism operations. You can't sort of magically disrupt al-Qaeda and the Taliban if they have a foothold in Afghanistan if you don't have troops on the ground, if you don't have the ability to collect intelligence, you don't have the ability to target. And so this is a big question and moment, because many observers, including now the Pakistanis saying publicly, say, look, if there are no American troops past 2014, we don't know what happens, and it could be civil war all over again, and you're going to see the Taliban and its allies, to include al-Qaeda, reoccupying space and maybe even knocking on the door of some of these major cities like Kandahar.
I have to tell you, it seems to me that core al-Qaeda, what's left of it, is sitting there going like, we hope the Americans go home. I mean, Afghanistan's where they were comfortable.
Absolutely, and they have allies in the Taliban. They've embedded with some of the tribal groups in western Pakistan and in the east. The elements of al-Qaeda are operating in parts of Afghanistan already, even with our troops there. So you can imagine, if we're not there, if the Afghan forces aren't reinforced and aren't capable, it is going to be sort of a free playground for these al-Qaeda guys, and that's dangerous. And to your point, the example of Iraq is not a good one, because in the absence of American presence, not only do we lose influence, but we lose the ability to not only help the fight against al-Qaeda, but also to manage the environment on the ground. Afghanistan without American troops post-2014, it's a dangerous place.
That's another one we'll keep an eye on. Juan, thanks as always.
Thank you, Bob.
And thanks to you for watching Flashpoints. I'm Bob Orr. We'll see you next time.